Boom.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Behind the Plate Podcast. It's episode 21. This is Behind the Plate Podcast, brought to you by One IQ Sports. I'm Will. That's DJ. And the fire sale is done. The trade deadline is over. The pencils have been put down. And what a deadline it was. But all the excitement started in Colorado that I want to start with. We see the Blue Jay connection. We see a Canada connection right away with Cal Quantrill and Reese McGuire, where Reese McGuire pops up and Cal Quantrill goes, fuck yeah. And then he goes, fuck you, bitch. And he goes, fuck you. And he goes, fuck you, pussy. And he goes, fuck you. And he goes, yeah, well, you jacked off in a parking lot, you fucking fatty. He was like, what the fuck, man? And then instantly DFA'd within like a week. All-time baseball moment. Like when I think of the 2024 MLB season, that's number one on my mind. So shout out Cal Quantrill.
That's sick.
Such a all-time quote, such a baseball quote, and like, how do you respond to that?
You don't. No, seriously, the Rockies have nothing this season. Obviously, they suck. So like, for something like that to happen, get them in the headlines. Yeah. That was sick, and it was all over. Like, you jerked off in a parking lot. Like, come on, what do you even say to that? It just pissed them off.
He's like, "Hey, what the fuck, man?" It was like the quote, or like, "Shut the fuck up, you bitch." Was the exact quote afterwards, and it's like,
no one else is saying that if you're playing for any other team.
Yeah, you are the parking lot like Tugger now, like. So hang the banner if you're Colorado. I would.
Yeah.
Like, retire Cal Quantrill's number. So, yeah.
Put in oh my god, that's so funny.
But the real bang for the Blue Jays started on Saturday, I guess it was, with Friday night or Saturday. Jimmy Garcia goes to the Seattle Mariners. What? They're trading with them again? Fuck off. Nah, stolen. They get Jonathan Clase and Patrick Sharp. Clase is their number 8 prospect. Sharp's unranked. I think he's in single A or double A right now. He's a catcher. Clase is a 2070 outfielder, by the way, for anyone wondering.
Crazy.
That's 20 home runs, 70 stolen bases across the minor leagues. Apparently, he has a bit of a swing consistency problem, which is just something they can fix with Matt Haig. PSA before we go any further. Don't let a single fucking prospect talk to Don Mattingly or Guillermo Martinez. For the love of all that's holy. Build a wall. Yeah. Like, hazmat suit them, duct tape them to Matt Haig and Edwin Encarnacion. I don't want to see them talking to anyone else.
Yeah, save their careers while you can, okay? Fucking please. No, but that was a really good start. I'm not used to getting such a haul back for a reliever. It's kind of weird, hey? Like, how that's... the need for relievers is so high nowadays that, like, people are willing to give out 3 prospects and 3 pretty good ones.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 for Garcia, but like we saw
other... 2. No, that's what I mean.
Other trades. I mean, Jason Adam got 4 back.
I mean,
Tanner
2 in the top 10.
Got 4. Yeah.
2 in the top 10 is pretty, like,
it was
pretty big.
It was good. The expanded playoffs help with that. The race is also so tight this year, which I think led to a lot of teams buying early, which led sellers kind of getting more than, what they probably would have gotten. Like, I don't think a Clase was looked at as like a Garcia realistic possibility, even with the year Garcia's had. So getting a guy with as much upside as Clase has, like, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to compare him to the players I'm going to compare him to. But, like, if he does, in fact, let's say he produces a 2060 season in the big leagues, that's Ellie De La Cruz, Ronald Acuna Jr. area with stolen base numbers. Maybe not as much on the Acuna power number side, but that's... And he's a switch hitter. And he's speedy. There's a lot of tools there that the Blue Jays can work with. And if they can get him consistently hitting the ball, watch the fuck out.
I mean, it's very it's sick to see when I searched it up and I looked at his numbers. It's interesting for us because like we haven't had a major speed threat since I don't even know. Like
Oh, it's been a while.
it's been like Davis. Um, the fuck was his first name?
Rajai Davis?
Rajay Davis.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to mind. But
Ben
other than that,
Revere
like
was another one, but like we haven't
yeah,
had a young
Jose
guy.
Reyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We haven't had a
Someone
young
coming
guy
up.
that they have control of for 6 years.
Halton
Which
Pompey, you remember that guy?
Yeah, which I think is another good thing to bring up is that everything the Jays gave up for the guys that are going to make an impact this year and next year, this is year 1 of 6 under control. A lot of these guys aren't even going to classify as a finished full first year, which means 2025 is their real full number 1 year.
Yeah.
Unless they get, I think it's if they win or like finish like top 3 in rookie of the year, then some of them do. But I don't think any of them will. Maybe Loperfido is a potential at it, depending on the way he finishes his year, but it's unlikely. So that's huge. Like, the window, you started in 2025, like restart that window in 2025 with these 4 or 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at 2030, 2031 when they're free agents. That's nuts.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time, and they're cheap. So that was good. I really liked that part of it. The next trade was Nate Pearson to the Cubs. I text Brendan. I was like, enjoy Nate Pearson. And he was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And I was like, you're getting a reliever from the Jays who isn't that good anymore and he used to be our like silver lining of hope.
Imagine he turns it around.
I was like, so take care of him. And he was like, well, he can't be much worse than what we have. And I was like, I wouldn't say that. Immediately home run, hit the guy in the head the next pitch, ejection in his Cubs debut. Yes, sir.
Shut up. I did not see that.
Yes, sir. He gave up a home run to Candelario and then hit Tyler Stevenson in the head yesterday. So if I had a nickel for every time someone connected to the Blue Jays organization hit a guy in the head yesterday, I've had 2 nickels.
That's crazy. Yeah.
In return, they got Yohendrick Panago, I believe is his name. He's an outfielder with the Cubs, now with the Bisons. He might be in New Hampshire, actually, might be with the Fisher Cats. And then they got shortstop Josh Rivera. Rivera's a glove first guy. Everyone seems to be super high on him as like, oh, he could be something. I don't see it. I'm really high on Yohendrick. I think he is like he'll be a 4th outfielder. Like I don't think he'll be a big dude, but like he'll do something. Panago,
he'll be
he could do something.
He'll be like a utility guy.
Yeah,
like off the bench.
Panago, as of right now, slides in. I think it's a 26th prospect. That might have changed on the Blue Jays organization site. Those are all going to change very soon now that they'll have draft picks signed and everything. They'll do mid-season rankings and redo everything. So that will change. But overall, I mean, it was a pretty good return for a guy of Nate Pearson's skill set and caliber.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's cool to see that our pipeline just get washed out for once. Like I feel like since Bo Vladdy and stuff, like there hasn't been much. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been guys to look at, but seeing so many fresh faces, like it's like taking your hand and putting it in a hat, and there's so many options that could turn out to be something for not that much. Like there was a lot of rentals we threw away. Guys that we don't really need right now. So it makes it more intriguing to watch.
I mean, they only got rid of 2 guys who were under contract for next year, which is pretty sick.
Exactly. No, it's really good.
The next trade was tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. It was Danny Jansen. He went to the Boston Red Sox. I didn't think he'd go to Boston. I was convinced Pittsburgh, but I didn't really know what his market was going to look like. In return, the Jays get infielder Cutter Coffee, all-time name, by the way. And then infielder Edison Polino, and then right-handed pitcher Gilberto Batista. Polino and Coffee rank in the top 30 for the Jays farm system at this moment. Polino's 20, Coffee's number 28, and then Batista's just another cool arm. This was a haul for Danny Jansen too. I like, Coffee and Polino are more lottery ticket depth guys that if they work on, like, they're more project type prospects, if that makes sense. They have, like, out of the 5 tools, they may have 1 or 2 that, like, show some promise, and then they kind of focus on that and then figure out the rest. So I really like that. All the good teams have really deep farm system. Like, look at the Dodgers. Like, they got guys everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's a good haul for Danny. And also on the opposite side, I think Danny's going to do very good in Boston. And I wish nothing but the best for Danny, really. He was so good for way longer than it seemed. Like, I does not feel like he was a part of the Blue Jays for what, like
6 years?
What is it, 6 or 7 years?
Yeah.
That's insane.
2018, he got called up. Hey, so.
And yeah, exactly. It feels like yesterday I was watching like his prospect highlights when I think I'd seen him hit a home run in like a prospects game. Anyway,
probably.
It's crazy to see him gone, but we got a good haul. I'm not mad at it. It's the time to sell him. Like, he's kind of capped out. You know what he's capable of, and I think we got a good return. Like 2 top 30 prospects and an arm. Like, you can't really complain.
Yeah, for a guy like Danny Jansen who hasn't had the best year, you can't really argue with the return. The corresponding move was Reese McGuire being DFA'd. That is now the second time in Reese McGuire's career that he has lost a job to Danny Jansen. So
that's so funny.
That's villain arc level shit.
He's gonna kill him.
And then some of the moves that happened yesterday was Justin Turner got traded to Seattle for outfielder R.J. Shrek. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. His name is Shrek. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Everyone loves that. He slots in as the Jays' number 29th prospect. Again, a bit more of a project prospect. Lottery ticket. Maybe he'll turn into something. Might not. He's got all right minor league numbers. Nothing that stand out and jump at you. But to me, the highlight of this trade was the fact that the Mariners ate everything. Like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah. Seriously.
So, shout out Seattle for eating the corpse of Justin Turner and his contract.
Yeah, I was shocked that we got that trade, to be honest. Yeah, that's very weird.
Like, when I watch, because I was watching the doubleheader, they've pointed out really quickly, Turner's not out there. Like, you see the tweets in the commercial break, and you're like, cut the commercials, bring me to the show right now. And then you get in, they're like, yeah, Turner's not there. Horwitz is at first now. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then it was pretty obvious that Turner was gone. And then it was Seattle. That was interesting. I didn't think Seattle would go for that.
Yeah.
So good for them. They're making moves. They want to try and do something in the playoffs. Maybe they will. They probably won't. Each playoff side is so top heavy.
Yeah, and it's so interesting they went for somebody like Turner because, like, you're eating everything he comes with, and he's like had a pretty bad year considering. Like, he's older. The only thing I would think of, like, them getting him for is, like, obviously he has a lot of experience and, like, he could take a walk. So I don't know. It's a weird move for them, but for us, I mean, you can't really complain much.
One connection I literally just made for Turner to Seattle was that they DFA'd Ty France, so they needed a first baseman, and I guess they're playing Turner mostly at first the rest of the way, which is something the Jays weren't going to do because that's Vladdy's spot. So that works. Do your thing, Seattle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. DH him, whatever you want to do.
Do what you want to do. Then came arguably the trade of the trade deadline. It's what every reporter, every analyst, every fan is talking about. Some have described this as highway robbery. Some have described this as holy fleece job. Some have described this as, how the fuck did you do that? Others have said they want to get Dana Brown drug tested because they don't think he was sober making this trade. That was Yusei Kikuchi to Houston. 4. Let's list them all out. Starting pitcher Jake Bloss, who slots in as the Jays' number 3 prospect and a really good arm. Outfielder Joey Loper Fido. His first name's Mario. He's the fucking dude. He's already on the Major League roster. He has got a Kyle Tucker-esque swing. He's a power first outfielder. He can catch the ball. A little bit of consistent contact problems. But you know what other outfielder had that issue? Teoscar Hernandez. And then lastly, because that's not it, each of those guys on their own is more than enough for Kikuchi. But Houston's like, nah, let me sweeten the pot for you because you're helping me out with 7.75 July ERA, Yusei Kikuchi. Take infielder Will Wagner, who slots in as the Jays' number 21 prospect. What's he hitting in AAA, you may ask? 307. The Jays, in their media thing, said, I think it was the Jays, or like, it might have been Ben Nicholson-Smith. They view Will Wagner as the most MLB-ready guy that they got in the whole trade deadline besides Joey Loperfido. This trade was insane. I was on a high that I've never been on before in my life. Like, this is like David Price, Jose Barrios-esque highs of like, holy shit, did we just do that? And yeah, they did. I remember texting you and I was like, Jake fucking Bloss.
Yeah, you were hype.
I thought it was 1 for 1 because it was like so long. And then you see Chandler Rome, the Astros beat reporter, say, no. There's 2 more prospects. And I was like, God, take me now.
So, 3 prospects. That's interesting. I mean, bro, that is so crazy. A 1 for 1 still would have been fucking... Oh, I'd probably be like, okay, cool.
If you got Kikuchi for Jake Bloss 1 for 1 or Kikuchi for Loperfido 1 for 1, I'd be like, yep, no, that makes sense. That's a great trade. You went for quantity over quality, as was my hope they would do the entire trade deadline. I was like, get the quality of prospect, not the quantity amount of prospects. You know, get the best guy, don't get 3 whatever guys. And they said, nah, we'll do better than that. We'll get 3 amazing guys. And Houston was like, yeah, sure, take it, man.
That is so crazy. Like, speaking about what I said earlier, the bullpen guys being worth a lot more is like, are they doing the same with starting pitchers? Because holy shit, man. Yeah. We're talking about a Kikuchi that, granted, he did really fucking good at times, but he's been at like his worst the last month. So like to see him get that much in return is like super risky. Super duper risky, and the quality of guys you're giving us back is like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but I mean,
could you imagine if Kikuchi had an average July? What else do you think Houston throws in there? Like I was really like invested on getting Pedro Leon because as an outsider looking in, when I started making trade packages at the beginning of July, to me, a Jake Bloss was untouchable. Like, not going to get it with a Kikuchi. Loperfido wasn't even in there, and maybe I was looking at Wagner. Yeah, like you'd have to like give up Bassett, but like I was looking at like Pedro Leon was like the dude, you know?
Right.
And they were like, no, that's too low for us. So, shout out Blue Jays.
Yeah. What a win on that one.
Yeah, what a trade. So, shout out Blue Jays. And then today was kind of the wrap 'em up deals of Richards to the Twins for Jay Harry.
Cool.
IKF to the Pirates for Charles McAdoo, which is actually a really good trade. I saw some people not like that trade. They're like, oh, you gave up AKF for 1 player. And it's like, this player's their number 12 prospect. That's not enough. It should have been 2 players no matter what. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
You got to capitalize on fucking IKF's like current state, and a number 12 prospect coming into this season. If you told me I was getting a number 12 prospect for IKF, if you told anyone that.
If you told me I was getting a top 30 prospect for IKF, I would have laughed at you.
Exactly. And he's proven to, do good in the minor leagues. So, I mean, why not? Fuck. I thought it was a really good, and he looks swaggy too. He's got that swaggy look to him. I seen
I
pictures
like
of
it.
him.
I was a big
Yeah.
fan of this trade. And then the last one was just kind of a feel-good trade for me. The Jays traded Kevin Kiermaier, the outlaw, to the Dodgers, which I thought was going to be the offseason move that Kiermaier was going to sign there. But now he gets a shot at a ring right before he retires. In return, the Jays get Ryan Yarbrough. This is some like sick devil shit twist in
Yeah.
like the story. I saw Ryan Yarbrough to Toronto. I saw the Robert Murray trade, and I was like, "What?" It's like one of those. He tortured us for like 5 years. Finally,
Yeah.
finally, he's not going to torture our hitters anymore.
Yeah.
So
And it's a
over,
guy that could eat innings for us. So it's
yeah,
like for somebody that was KK was gone, it was gonna be so boring for him, and just like almost got DFA'd or whatever
yeah.
released. Like it's
Um,
good for him. I'm glad he's a Dodger. Hopefully
so
he
am I.
wins.
Overall, the Jays traded out 8 players. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Holy
13
moly.
prospects back.
Crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of which rank in the top 30 of the Jays trade or farm system.
Right.
And then you get Ryan Yarbrough to eat innings for the rest of the year before he becomes a free agent. Overall, what do you grade this trade deadline? 8 players out, 13 prospects in, 14 total players, 7 in the top 30. What's your grade for it?
I mean, going in expectations wise, um, like this is what we had to do. We had to just, you know, get some rentals out of the way, get as much, as we could in terms of value, because a lot of guys, you know, were disappointing, to say the least. So honestly, like, I'll give it an A. I don't know if it's A plus. There's some A plus trades in there, but overall, like, it's just a steady deadline. We did what we had to do, and I'm very happy. If you were to ask me, comparatively to last year's, you could go see a clip that we have on, I don't know what your channel. I'm over the moon that and if you ask me if being sellers would make me happy a year ago, probably not. But we're over it. It was great. I'm very happy.
Yeah. I was sat there today. My mind was trade the rentals, go for quality of prospect over quantity of prospect. And then if you
Mhm.
have to sell high on an IKF, if there's a Bassett market there, do that. If there's a green market there, do that. Obviously, those last two guys didn't have the market that the Jays were hoping for or transpired or whatever. That's
Right.
fine. But they did what they had to do. They prioritized quality of prospect over quantity of prospect in majority of these trades, which is what they had to do. I sat there today over the moon on this trade deadline. I was A minus to an A.
Yeah. Right. I
I
think
think
you
a Bassett or a Green might have put it at that A plus, depending on the
right.
return.
Right. I mean, we traded so much and it was constantly going on, whereas last year it was like halt, halt, halt. I think Atkins did a great job. It sucks
Yeah.
to say, but he did his job.
I said it earlier in our live stream today or yesterday when you're listening to this. The Blue
Mhm.
Jays acquired more impact MLB talent at this trade deadline than they did last year.
Right. Right. 100%.
If you want to play the numbers, we acquired better players,
Hmm.
better MLB talent, and more impact players than they did last year. Like it was Paul DeYoung and Jordan Hicks. Like that was the two. Those were the two deadline moves. If you want to argue it, like I wouldn't call Henny a deadline move. Hicks and Paul DeYoung were in the final week.
Right.
Chase got more MLB talent from Kikuchi.
Right. No.
So yeah,
It's refreshing, man. And it's nice that we get to like watch how the rest of the season goes, but also know that they're not pushing our hopes too far because, as you see in a lot of reports, Vladdy is staying, and Blue Jays are hoping to contend in 2025, which
Uh,
is not a shock.
I think they can now with this trade deadline. I'll say that.
Me too. Me too.
I'll get into that in a minute. But first things first, I want to talk to you about this quote that I saw from Ben Nicholson-Smith. I actually saw it on a tweet from Low Profi, this account called Low Profito. I think it's Atkins to Alcatraz is the username. So
Atkins to
Alcatraz is, I think, the username. I might be wrong here. But basically, he was listening to J.D. Bunkis's podcast, and Ben Nicholson-Smith, he was asked about Bo Bichette, and Ben Nicholson-Smith answered with, and I quote from the tweet, "There is no path to an extension for Bo Bichette. He will not be extended. He might be traded in the offseason." Which tells me two things. They went to Bo Bichette. They gave him a number. He came back with an outrageous number, and the Jays said, "Fuck you." It also tells me from this moment on, 100% of the focus, 100% of the resources is on Vladdy.
Right.
Which tells me it gets locked up. Does that shock you at all? Because I don't think it shocks me at this point.
No. But the one thing I will say, it definitely, depending on how nice Vlad is, we talked about this in the past, I think he's going to get way more than we expected. Not way more, but he's going to get more.
He's going to get more. The more he keeps hitting, I would say my 12-year 300, I think it was, probably isn't going to be the number anymore. Like, I thought 12-year 300 was a legit number, but he's hitting at almost a better pace since May than he did in 2021.
In his last 70 games is insane. 357 with 58 RBIs, which is like, what the fuck?
Don't know if I have the number that I had for Vladdy. I don't think I do. But yeah, it's like the numbers gone up since the last time we discussed a Vladdy extension. The only thing that I will say that shocks me is that he might be traded, because the message of we want to compete and we want to win in 2025 does revolve around Bo Bichette. The Jays are a more competitive, better team with Bo Bichette on the field next year than they are without him. So, to me, if a Bo Bichette trade does happen, it means they either A, won the draft lottery and Ethan Holiday is going to be a Blue Jay, or B, they are getting a young MLB shortstop, like young MLB ready rookie shortstop, like a Jordan Lawler, coming the other way, because that is the one primary position out of the infielders that they grabbed that they didn't get. They got guys who are, second base is their number one, and then maybe it's shortstop, or it's second base, first base, shortstop, or it's third base, second base, shortstop. But they didn't get a primary shortstop prospect, which I thought was interesting if Bo Bichette is to be moved. Unless they really just are that high on Leo Jimenez, which, like, I'm high on him, but I don't think you can be Bo Bichette high on him.
I mean, okay, it comes down to two things for me. How much does the rest of the MLB really value him after this year? Like, don't trade him for nothing. Obviously. I think Bo Bichette offers so much to the table, and he just had a really, really bad year, and hopefully he could fix up. But at the same time, it's like, we need to get someone back in order to trade him. It makes no sense we're so short on shortstops right now, no pun intended, that, like, it would have to be something crazy, and I don't think his value's where it needs to be in order to move him. It doesn't really make sense. But I mean, after what we've seen at the deadline,
Yeah. And imagine what the Jays could have got for him at this deadline, even with the year he's having. Like, they could have got like a Luciano from San Francisco, a Lawler and Jones from Arizona. Maybe they could have finessed their way to get a Jackson Merrill from San Diego. that was like an unlikely one. Or like, trying to think.
Somebody.
No one in the Central really needs a shortstop.
Right.
Besides maybe the Cardinals.
Regardless, like,
But yeah.
let's say that holds, right? And people still value him that much. Who's to say we can't get as much as he's worth if
Yeah.
people just see like what he's done, you know? But at the same time, like, I think it's the perfect year to like kind of wait it out and see anyway, the way things have lined up, because we suck ass. We're gonna get a high pick, and our
Yeah.
pipeline looks a lot better than it did. So it's very like we have a lot more to offer now in terms of everything. So Bo Bichette being traded like could happen, but I could see him depending on the year if we trade him being at the deadline next year, depending on how things are going. But yeah, I don't see him getting extended at all. 0% chance.
Yeah, I don't see it either at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how to turn the ringer off for this thing.
My main thing that I really started going for was the fact that at this deadline, the Jays basically, I don't want to say acquired a new core, but they like paper mache'd their way into a new style core, if that makes sense, with everything that they got. And it's very intriguing. I pose this question to you. If Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is extended this offseason, lifetime, you got him here 13 more years, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Do you, as a Jays fan, accept the outcome of, in 2025, let the kids play? Let figure out what you have. Let Joey Loperfido play. Let Jonathan Clase play. Let Will Wagner play. Let Addison Barger play. Let Aurelvis Martinez play. Let Jake Bloss play. And figure out what you have in there mixed in with, Horwitz, who's already there, and see what you have. Vladdy's signed long-term, so there's no risk of losing him in this. Right. Would you, as a fan, go into 2025 and accept that as the outcome?
As a fan, absolutely. Because like we've seen it in the past, many teams have done it and it works, it works or it doesn't. I think with the line, like the body of work we're putting out right now, like, yes, of course, if you want change to happen, you got to see where, like, you got to flip a coin sometimes. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm like 40-60. I don't think the words contend in 2025 line up with letting the kids play, in my perspective, like in my opinion, sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't think they fully go with let the kids play. I hope they do, right? But I think they, let's say Bo goes for something big or whatever. They try to sign somebody like big and they go the more traditional route. I hope not, but I see that happening more than I see what you're explaining.
As a fan, I 100%, it's actually what I want now, because it doesn't make sense for the Jays to acquire all this MLB ready talent with 6 years of control to go out and sign a guy for 4 years in a position that's already going to be covered through one of these young guys, whether it's, Clase, Loperfido, Barger in the outfield, or Aurelvis Martinez and Spencer Horwitz and Will Wagner in the infield with Bo Bichette and Vladdy. It doesn't make enough sense in my mind to go out and jeopardize that. Because if the contract doesn't work, you're fucked. Whereas if you have these young kids, you're chilling for a while. You're chilling for 6 years. And they're going to be cheap until the fourth year in that 6th-year deal. And I think you got to let it do it. You look at examples of the Orioles. Different scenario. I'm not saying we have the Gunnar Hendersons and the Rutschmans of the world. They let the kids play. They had a lot more of them, but they let them play in 22. you saw the progression, and then 23 they won 100 games. The Braves did it in 2017. They won the division. Different. We don't have the Acuñas, the Albies, the Rileys of the world, the Frieds, the Sorokas. The most recent example that I would parlay with the Blue Jays is the Reds. But I would say it's different. Like, it's different because the Reds didn't have the supporting cast around the young guys like the Jays do. The Reds didn't have a Vladdy and a Bo to stick in the lineup with Ellie and Will Benson and Encarnacion Strand. They had Jonathan India. So the Jays have 3 pillars in their lineup right now that they can fill in the rest with these young guys. And I think it could work in 25, that they could compete for a wild card spot based off of the let the kids play. Because let's say 2 out of the 4 of Loperfido, Barger, Martinez, and Clase, say 2 of those 4 really take a step in 2025 and find their footing. Now you got 5 or 6 guys in that lineup that's mashing, and you fill in 3 different spots through, 5 other guys. Who knows what you're doing?
Right.
That's what Will's cooking, sort of.
Yeah, no, that I like that. I like that I totally agree with you. I think that's the best way to play it, if you were to think about it. But for me, it's good because with Bo probably not signing, it really frees up the time. If we, let's say, because we're going to hopefully Vladdy long term, then that competing for a title kind of extends. Like you said, you get these guys for 6 years. Like,
it extends to 2030, 2031 now.
Right, exactly. So you don't have to compete next year. You could try things out and go. It's just hard for me because the management situation is probably going to be different. Yeah. And the word competing in 2025, I don't know how to take that. I could see a lot of changes, but I also see your way working the best, because work with what you're given and see what they got. You have, like I said, Vladdy signing long term. You have no rush now.
Let the kids play is contingent on Vladdy signing long term.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So hypothetically, for the rest of this podcast, he signs long term, 13 years. You don't have that time frame. Sure, it sucks that you have to wait longer because we expected bigger things by now, but we got to get over it and just move on. And it's better to fall back 2 years than fall back 10 years and do what we did for so long. So agreed. I don't know. This is good.
Within this, because I really started thinking, so I have laid out, if the 2025 season started tomorrow, this is the most realistic expectation that I have for a team. My lineup is Springer leading off. He's the DH. Horwitz batting second, playing second. Vladdy batting third at first. Loperfido batting fourth in left field. Bose batting fifth at shortstop. Kirk batting sixth at catcher. Varsho seventh in center field. Clement eighth at third base. Barger ninth in right field. Even that lineup in itself, I've already what if we did this and this and this,
Right.
The rotation, I have Barrios, Gosman, Bassett, and then you have a combination of Rodriguez, Bloss, and then Manoah when he returns.
Right. I forgot about Manoah, kind of.
On the bench, you got Brian Servin or Elvis Martinez, Davis Schneider, Jonathan Clase. And then the bullpen, I have Romano, Green, Swanson, Cabrera, Francis as the long man. But that's the iffy one. And then I have 3 open spots. Because there's 3 spots they need to get, is what I'm trying to go with that. So in the offseason, you need to get 3 bullpen arms. You have to build a bullpen. Right. So you need to get 3 arms. You could argue a starting pitching arm. I don't think you need one. You get a really good rotation. Jake Bloss could be something good, especially if they eliminate that 4-seamer and let him go sinker slider or sinker slurve. He's got a Chris Bassett pitch mix and mentality with Jose Barrios stuff. Which, fucking awesome. Let him work with Pete Walker. Get him in the lab. You need a backup catcher. because I don't want Brian Servin. And if Kirk gets hurt, then you're going caught to the depth. So you're looking at a guy like a Jacob Stallings or a James McCann. And then arguably you could use a third baseman. On the edge of guys who could go either way, might be on the team, might not be on the team in 2025. I have Will Wagner as most likely to be on the team than not on the team. Alan Roden could be on the team compared to not being on the team. Then I have Leo Jimenez, very contingent on Bo Bichette.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Ernie Clement and Davis Schneider. And I'm going to say something that no one's going to like. I don't think Ernie or Davis are on the team next year. Whether that means they're traded or they're in AAA. I think Ernie gets traded for a bullpen arm, personally. Davis was given the year to run and earn the spot for next year. And the league adjusted, and he hasn't been able to figure it out. And it's like he had a really good 3 weeks last year, and he's a feel-good story. Davis Schneider isn't a guy you keep on a team for a competitive team, in my opinion.
Right.
Great human, great person. The fit isn't there with what the Jays just got. So there's two guys you get rid of. You replace it with Will Wagner, who's got a better bat than both of them. Arguably has a better bat or glove. Jonathan Clase, who's going to be on that team next year no matter what. Same with Loperfido, same with Barger. So then you could argue maybe Orelvis Martinez is your third baseman if he runs with it. Like to me, the money goes to a third baseman. But like the main money in this offseason is to Vladdy. And you don't spend much. Like I don't think they spend as nearly as much as people think. And if you can trade Clement and Schneider for a bullpen arm, now you only have to get 2 to 3 instead of the 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need these elite firecracker arms of a Jimmy Garcia, although I guarantee you you will hear reports of interest there. They could go out and get middle of the pack Trevor Richards, and it could work.
Right. Yeah, you don't need much.
So, yeah.
No, I agree. Next year is going to be...
Next year, it's let the kids play.
Right. And I think next year you're going to know like how that season's going to go after the first 2 months of the season. Like you're gonna see what's happening at the deadline. You're gonna see what's gonna happen in the next few years just by the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah. Well, I think you could tell it. Like, so hypothetically.
In a month, even.
Yeah. So, like, let's say hypothetically, I'm gonna just get the names of everyone that I think is gonna be called up of the young guys. Let's say, hypothetically, Clase gets called up mid-August. Barrewa goes down, as it should happen as soon as possible. Let's say he hits 240, maybe drives a couple balls out, 3 or 4, and swipes 10 bags. That's something to build on for next year. Then maybe you have, maybe Jake Bloss comes in. Maybe he rides a 3 or 4 ERA the rest of the way. But you see the progression build as like maybe he's starting to paint the corners more, and you see the stuff in the starts. It's just not as consistent as you would hope it to be. Again, he's 23. Like doesn't need to be Randy Johnson level shit yet. Then you get Joey Loperfido playing. Let's say he hits 270 and drives 10 out of there, which is very realistic in the AL East with the smaller ballparks. There's something to build on. Will Wagner, let's say he comes up and he maybe hits 285, 290, but he only gets a couple out. It's very Spencer Horwitz style player.
Right.
There's 4 young guys that you just got at this deadline that fill into next year's core that you don't need to spend as much. I'm going to put it one step further. If Clase and Loperfido and Barger, let's say they figure it out, and they become what we think they are.
Yeah.
Varsho is gone.
Yeah.
Varsho is so out. Because let's say Clase has a remotely above average glove.
Right.
In center field. He has the better bat. So now you've lost the need for Varsho unless you bring him in as a fourth outfielder. But Varsho doesn't deserve fourth outfielder. He deserves to start. So now you're looking at Loperfido, Clase, Barger in your outfield.
Best
your
case.
Outfield, yeah, best case. Your outfield then in, let's say, like, this is 2026 now. Your outfield's built off of a draft pick and 2 pieces from the 2024 trade deadline.
Right.
That's great. Now let's say you start to look at the rotation. You know, you're going to have your Barrios and your Gosman. Then you're going to look at Manoah, who I'm penciling in there. That's homegrown draft pick. Then you're looking at potentially Ricky Tiedemann, homegrown draft pick. Then you're looking at Jake Bloss, 2024 trade guy.
Yeah.
3 of those guys are going to be very cheap. Then you're looking at Will Wagner's going to be in the infield, most likely. Elvis Martinez is going to be in the infield.
Team. It's going to be a different team.
Spencer Horwitz is going to be in the infield. Vladdy's going to be in the infield. Right. Kirk's probably going to be catching. You're looking at Kirk, Springer, Gosman, Barrios as your only 20 mil plus players. And then you have guys everywhere else that are going to be so goddamn cheap. You could, let's say they need a third baseman. Like, let's say Elvis Martinez somehow wins the shortstop job and, like, fixes his defense, and they don't have the Ethan Holiday.
Right.
They can go out and just sign a third baseman to whatever they wanted to. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's just so many different things there.
This is not even, like, putting into the fact that we have, like, a high draft pick guaranteed this year.
Yeah.
So, like, think of that, too. Like, whoever that may be, they fill in somewhere, I'm sure.
They fill in by 2026, 2027.
Right.
Who else? You got Trey Savage will hopefully be in there rotation-wise if they sign him. Arjan Namala is expected to debut in 2027. He's a shortstop. Now, all of a sudden, you got this second. They have this wave of talent coming right now. And then they have this second wave of talent expected by, like, 27, 26, you know? Like, there's going to be guys, theoretically, for the next 3 years consistently coming up.
And that's something we haven't had in forever.
Like, not even the 2019 Blue Jays could say that, because they didn't have guys consistently coming up before that. It was Vladdy Bo, figure it out. They've never had, like, oh my God, okay, we got
an onslaught of people
we got
coming up.
3 guys this year, including their Elvis Martinez debut, and he'll be back in September. So there's 3 prospects right there with Horwitz, Barger, and Martinez. Then you can look at including, they'll call up Jake Bloss this year. They'll call up Will Wagner this year. There's 2 more guys. Not theirs, but 2 more guys. Joey Loperfido is going to be there. Clase is going to be there. There's another guy. Loperfido doesn't count because he's already on the team. But, like, Clase will get called up. There's another guy. So now you've seen 6 players really up, like, could be good prospect, good players debut. Then next year, you know, you could see your Ricky Tiedemann or, you know, maybe an Alan Roden or a Cam Eden, you know, Cam Eden is what we like to call him in the world of sports. Maybe they, you know, figure
see
it
some
out.
Action.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe a Trey Savage. And then, you know, 2026, whoever they draft in 25 could be there. Unlikely, but could be there. Then you might start, maybe a Arjan Namala comes up early, you know?
Yeah. Use this as an identity builder next season.
There's a wave of talent that's going to be flushed into Toronto over the next 3 years that they have to take advantage of. And they have to do it the right way. The core is there. I would very much follow Baltimore and Cincinnati's way. More Baltimore than Cincinnati, but, like, get the young guys in there first. Figure out what you have after a year, maybe 2. I'd say a year. And then supply money elsewhere. Like, the Jays are gonna go from a top 5 payroll to, if these prospects pan out, to mid-pack, like $130 million, $140 million payroll.
Exactly. No, I think you're right.
Just because of this. So like this, I don't want to say this because it isn't that, but this deadline could be looked back as a franchise altering, franchise changing deadline if it works.
Yes. And as you say that, my friend, this is all an if, and I really hope you're right. This is a
The
big if,
biggest
though.
if ever.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Listening to you talk about it is like, wow, you're making me like erect. But I
dude,
mean,
I sold myself on it like at 8
right.
o'clock today. I was like, sat there. I was like, holy shit, I want to do this now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But this is the best case. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing these guys just play baseball. That's the number one thing. Just play, see these new faces, see what they have to offer. And it's just refreshing to be bad with a good future. We were bad with nothing really to like. I mean, we had a couple guys, like we said, but like to see it like flushed out,
Yeah.
great. We did what we had to do. And that was the purpose of this deadline. So going back to it, this was a great deadline. It was an A.
Yeah. I
And
I also think one last thing. If Ross Atkins stays, which again,
right, that's a big thing
that's a
too.
big if. It could not be
Mhm.
him. It could be him. The Blue Jay reporters make it seem like it will be him next year.
Really?
Yeah, they say it sounds like he's very much calling all the shots. Shapiro very much trusts him still, but a lot of it depends on this deadline. He had a fucking killer deadline.
Yeah, he did.
He
He
did.
did.
Um, if Atkins comes out in February and talks like, hey, we didn't spend $100 million in free agency. We spent 40 million on like, a backup catcher and 3 arms.
Right.
And he goes out there and goes, we believe in this core. We believe in the progression of the guys that we have in the young talent that's coming up. It's as much as we heard that bullshit last year, like this year, it's different because in spring training this year, it was very much, oh, they're all just going to bounce back to their career norms and blah, blah, blah. Like that's not going to happen. Yeah. But seeing the natural progression of 2, 3, 4 young guys who all get major league taste and talent and experience this year, that's not bullshit. That's common sense. Like that's going to happen if they are who you believe they are. And you could sell it more to a Blue Jay fan of like, we're just going to let the kids play and we're going to figure it out. But you can only sell it if Vladdy is sent.
Exactly. If he's extended the timelines totally way longer, and with the guys that you like you said, oh, everyone's gonna bounce back. No, but these guys coming up, they have no experience. Based on this experience that they get over the next year or two, they can get better.
Yeah.
And the thing is with a deadline like this, you don't really know what you got until like
you won't know.
See what you have.
We won't know until 2026 how good this deadline was.
Exactly.
2027. But at the time being, this feels like a winner's deadline for the Jays. So
right, it could be good, it could be bad, but they took the risk they had to take. Period.
Yes. Yeah. Before we get too far away from present day, let's go over what we had last week. I'm not going to count our Baltimore games because we didn't put in effect for them. So we're just going to count our 6 games, and then we'll just predict the rest of the week. We both predicted a modest 2-4. The Jays said, fuck you. They went 4-2, and they swept the defending World Series champions. And as much as I preach lose to get Ethan Holiday, sweeping Texas is just nothing. There's nothing better than it. The year may change, but the result never changes.
Yeah.
The Jays will forever be your father, Texas. We both, our Blue Jay of the Weeks, we predicted guys who were going to be traded as kind of ending on a high note. You predicted Turner. I predicted Danny Jansen. I'm giving it to Vladdy.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Turner did have a good week.
Turner was it, but Vladdy was just God.
And he's on my fantasy. Thank you, Vladdy.
Yes, sir. So we have one game left against Baltimore tomorrow. And then where do we go after that? I actually have no idea. You couldn't tell me who we play, and I wouldn't believe you. Like, you could throw at any team, and I'd be like, yeah, well, fuck it. Why not? Oh, fuck.
Who's starting tomorrow?
Probably Yarbrough would be my guess. No, Paolo Espino is starting tomorrow, so.
Oh, interesting.
Yippee. So we go to the Bronx for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Jazz Chisholm's first ever Yankee Stadium visit as a Yankee. So there's 3 games. So we have 4 games in total to talk about. I mean, I'm just going to spew a record. There's 4 games. We're going to go 1-3.
1-3, and I'd be fine with it.
1-3 is a win in my books because they'll win 1 game against the Yankees somewhere. I hope. I could also very much receive 4 straight losses.
Hey, and that would be great too.
Helps shit, you know?
Helps
the prospect stuff. It's the Blue Jay of the week. I went with the record. You're going Vladdy.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some fun.
Yeah, fuck your fun.
Joey LaPerfido, baby! He is winning the Blue Jay of the week. I've actually never been so high on a hitter before like this. Like, Jake Bloss was the dude I couldn't believe, and now I'm more than in on Joey LaPerfido. That's the fan club now.
I would say that's true, but I mean, the last person you were like this to kind of got suspended for not being able to use.
Yeah, but he's played 40 games. Properly. He's played 40 games already in the big leagues. We know his cock works. His balls work too, man. Not as big a balls as James McCann, who took one to the face and stayed in the game. That dude's my hero after that. Like,
that's fucking nuts.
Nuts, dude.
That's nuts.
Oh my God. Addison Barger hit his first home run of his MLB career this week.
I was going to say that.
I completely purged that from my mind by accident.
Right.
Congratulations, Addison Barger, on your first MLB home run.
Maybe it's a tank too. He got all of it.
He got
that aggressive swing. I like it.
Nothing more would fill me with more joy than Joey LaPerfido and Addison Barger turning into dudes with the most athletic left-handed power swing in the fucking league.
That would be nice.
They hit the ball so hard. Nice. I want to have some fun. Joey LaPerfido he's coming in. He's coming in hot.
Yeah.
Vladdy most likely is the safe pick. Like, he's the Blue Jay of the week pick the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I like to have some fun here. Joey LaPerfido, he's going to probably play 3. He should start 3 games. He should start tomorrow in Baltimore, and then I'd give him 2 in New York. I'd give him like a Friday and a Sunday maybe, or Saturday, Sunday. Because he should break in that short porch.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, I'm looking forward to watching the rookies play, but I'm gonna watch Vladdy so hard the rest of the season.
Oh yeah.
I just want him to go fucking bananas, and right now he's going fucking bananas, and people are starting to get scared of him again. He's taking 2 walks a game minimum.
You see the Baltimore announcers?
Yeah,
it's the home run. It's day 1. I'm sick of this guy.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what we felt with Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah. For everyone curious, Vladdy had a back-to-back yesterday. He went 7 for 10 with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs.
And 16 total bases.
And 4 extra base hits in 1 game.
Today he went, I think it was 2 for 3 with 2 walks.
1 for 2.
1 for 2 with 2 walks.
And a run. Yeah.
I very much, not the reason that I'm skeptical around picking Vladdy for Blue Jay of the Weeks, but the rest of the way out, unless other guys can prove, like the other guys hitting around Vladdy can prove, like your LaPerfidos, your Horwitzes, your Bargers, your Clases, your Wagners, when they come up, most people are going to start pitching around Vladdy pretty quickly.
And you've seen it even today.
He's very much like he's going to get 1 pitch to hit. He'll be if there's 2, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
They're going to pitch him very much away.
But
So if he takes his walks, good enough. But like, you remember in May when we were sat here and we're like, no, if Vladdy's not going to hit 20 home runs, it's fucked. Vladdy might hit 40.
I know. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And by the way, he's like fourth in our average right now, somehow or something, or third or something.
You want to listen?
That's
I'm going to, just before we go to end on some high notes here, in Vladdy's last 30 games, he has 12 home runs, 36 RBIs. He's hitting .393, is a .435 on base percentage, and .812 slugging percentage. But I'm going to one-up that. In his last 15 games, he has 8 home runs. He has a .473 average, a .523 on base percentage, a 1.018 slugging. Nah, but it gets better. His last 7 games, he has 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 6 walks, a .560 average, a .625 on base percentage. His slugging's a 1.080. Aaron Judge, who?
It's fucked up. Bro, and it goes farther than that. Like I said, he's batting .350 over the last 70 games. Do we not remember him being this good before he got pelted in the hand?
Yeah. Dude, his numbers, like his average, his on-base percentage isn't there yet, but like his average is so eerily close to like 2021. Like
that's what I'm saying. It might just be another hot streak, but he seems on. He seems so on, like everything.
This is who he is.
Everything, and I'm so happy.
This is who he is.
It makes me so happy.
I'm gonna leave with one final message. I have never been this more excited, more happy, more ecstatic about the 2024 Toronto Blue Jays than I am at this moment. With the young guys we have, the way Vladdy's hitting the ball, no one has it better than us.
yeah, we could just end on that. I guess he's totally wrong, but right. I mean, fuck, we're on a high. We're on a high right now.
We went from a bottom 5 farm system, a top 5 payroll, and a last place team to a middle of the packed payroll, a middle of the packed farm system, still a last place team. We have an MVP candidate. We have amazing players that we just got at this deadline. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna probably get a top 5 pick this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you can. Mic drop. That's it. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next week. I think we just end with that.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye-bye.